Hi guys, I'm outside right now, and the reason is that I want to talk about how you can incorporate sampling to your life, how you can make it more enjoyable for yourself. And a lot of people talk about, the correct technique for sampling, how you can adapt it to your current asymmetries, etc., etc., but also the science of how it works, how it can give you results, etc., etc. But I think that there might be a lack of talking about how to incorporate it to your life, because it's a time that you will be spending in your health and in your future self. And I believe that it's important to, as any habit, to try to do it as enjoyable, as sustainable as possible, and to adapt it to your current needs. And so for that reason, I'm gonna talk about in this video about what worked for me and what you could learn from my experience and how you can apply similar techniques for yourself. All right. And so, first of all, what I would recommend is to set a time in your schedule for when you want to try the techniques. For example, it can be before going to college or after work or whatever you think could work for you. And of course, after some time practicing the habit, you can adapt it to your current needs. If you found that the time you choose was the best one for yourself, then great. But if you find that maybe it would be better to do it a little earlier or a little later, that could work too. The idea is to adapt it to your current need, to your current life responsibilities, etc. And the first few times I would just watch a video talking about the correct technique, trying to get the force right. We always talk about how it has to be firm but soft, like a massage, like we always say. And I would recommend maybe taking some notes about the technique. Maybe you can investigate about your personal asymmetries and what technique will work the best for you, etc. And the first few times I would try it quietly, trying to feel it with your thumbs, also in your face. It's very frequent to the first few times to feel the stretch, even the movement in your bones, etc. And focus on that. But after some times, maybe a few days or well, at most a week of trying, you will probably find that it's not so hard and that you can replicate it without giving it much thought. And actually, one very effective way of doing that is by doing what I'm doing right now, like being outside. So, what I normally do is to go right here in my lawn. I go barefoot. I could talk about the benefits of going barefoot and obviously the benefits of being in the sun or outside in general. But it just makes it more enjoyable. So, or for example, you could trying to walk a bit while you do it. Again, you don't need to be just in one place to some pool and all this stuff about trying to be 100% straight and trying to chin tuck, etc., doesn't actually matter and even could make things worse. So again, you could just be in your kitchen if you have to and walk a bit, trying to not remain stationary. And while you do so, you can actually, for example, watch a video of something you like, something interesting, or in general, put on your headphones and listen to music or to a podcast or to an audiobook. I actually liked a lot to be learning via sample. It makes the whole process more enjoyable. And sometimes even I just want to keep sampling so um, I can stay listening to what I'm listening at that moment. And so, well, there you have some ideas of how you can incorporate it to your life. Well, what I just mentioned is what works for me, and what works for me is to do it all in one go. to do it. If I want to do it 15 minutes a day, to do it the 15 minutes or only in one go. But for example, you can do that, or you can do, for example, 5 minutes every hour, or every 2 hours, or a little less, or I don't know, 1 minute every 20 minutes, or whatever. You can try different ways of organizing it, both in terms of what you enjoy the most, and what your work, what your studies, what your life allows. So yeah, there are a lot of options. Again, this is something that people actually talk about, but I believe it matters a lot. And well, if you want more ideas on how you can incorporate a new habit in general, you can watch a summary of Atomic Habits, or actually read the book. It's very interesting and very useful for this kind of stuff. Alright guys, so that was the video for today. I hope you guys found it useful. As I said in previous videos, I am still learning about all of this, about orthotropics, about craniofacial techniques, how to improve your attractiveness, your health, etc., etc. But I've been in the community for a few years, and I like to share what my experience has been, what I've learned from all of these experiments, what gave me results, what didn't, etc. And although there are people who are more knowledgeable than me, and I am the first to point that out, I do think that there are still some topics that are not talked about enough. And so for that reason, I believe that sharing my experience with you here, and sharing what worked for me, what might help you, etc., is a good idea to help some other people who might be in need of the information. So I'll stop rambling right now. And so, well, I hope this video again was useful for you, and please share in the comments if that was the case and what you'd like me to cover next, if you have any questions, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.